the medal around his neck and a smile plastered on his face, Sidney Crosby took a Canadian flag for a spin at Canada Hockey Place, just as his teammates had taken a nation on an emotional 3-hour roller coaster. Crosby had earned a standing O Canada, but the open secret of the 2010 Olympics was that he'd been unexceptional. He hadn't scored a point in the 2 previous games, and near the end of regulation in the gold medal game, he failed to score on a breakaway that would have dumped the US into a cavernous 2-goal hole. Team Canada general manager Steve Yzerman had praised Crosby for doing the little things, but some people are destined to do the big things on the biggest stage. Crosby's one of those people, blessed with an incomparable sense of narrative. So when he suggested it could have been anybody else who scored that soul-soothing, Armageddon-preventing goal at 7:40 of overtime, he was only technically correct. In one of the greatest hockey games of all time, it wasn't anybody else who scored. It was Sid the Kid. The decisive play started along the boards when Crosby chipped the puck past Brian Rafalski to Jerome McGinley. Crosby jumped off the wall, wheeled toward the net, and as he left Rafalski behind, yelled Iggy at the top of his lungs. Iggy slipped a pass onto Crosby's stick, who took the shot heard from British Columbia to Newfoundland. For a nation that's never been humble about its hockey ambitions, Crosby gave a new generation of Canadians their Paul Henderson moment. Henderson scored the game winner against the Soviets in the final game of the 1972 Summit Series, a goal that stopped time. 38 years later, in the most watched hockey game in North America since the Miracle on Ice in 1980, Crosby did the same. Canada's puff-chest notion of entitlement chafed American players like Ryan Kesler, whose day job at the time was playing center for the Canucks. Kesler went so far as to say he hated Canada's smug sense of hockey superiority. While strolling through the Yaletown district after the US defeated Finland 6-1 in the semifinals, Kesler was chirped by fans. That's the magic of the Olympics. For 2 weeks, it can transform a local hero into a villain. Or in the case of American goalie Ryan Miller, elevate a hockey star to a national hero. When the US beat Canada 5-3 in the round robin, Miller went viral. His friends told him Joe Jonas and Alyssa Milano tweeted him, and he made an appearance on Ryan Seacrest's radio show. It's a reminder of the boost the Olympics gives to North America's 4th most popular league when the NHL shuts down to allow its stars to participate, even though the ratings for the gold medal game are way higher than the ratings for the Stanley Cup finals. And the players love representing their countries on the world stage. The NHL hasn't participated since 2014 when Sidney Crosby and Team Canada defended their Olympic title in surgical fashion. The NHL skipped 2018 without an agreement, and then the league cancelled plans to send players to China in 2022 because of COVID concerns and an already interrupted schedule. Players like Connor McDavid, Austin Matthews, Nathan MacKinnon, and Jack Eichel have been the faces of the NHL for nearly a decade, but haven't a single Olympic experience under their belt to show for it. The CBA provides that the NHL and NHL Players Association will do their best to participate in the 2026 Winter Games. But that leaves the most complicated part still to iron out, negotiating an Olympic deal with the IOC and IIHF. The main issues are who picks up the cost of player insurance, as well as the cost in mode of travel. Back in September of 2023, NHL Deputy Commissioner Bill Daly said an announcement could come by the end of the calendar year, so hopefully we'll get an answer by the end of the 2023-24 regular season at least. As for Best on Best Hockey, the League and Players Union are working to get the World Cup of Hockey back up and running on a regular schedule, including a smaller international showcase event in 2025. But the World Cup of Hockey isn't on the same level as the Olympics. The ultimate goal is to implement a normalized rotating scenario in which you'd have the Olympics in 2026, a World Cup in 2028, the Olympics in 2030, a World Cup in 2032, and so on. This has been the shared vision of the NHL and NHLPA for a long time, but it's proved to be an elusive reality. Connor Bedard was 4 years old in February 2010 when Crosby scored the golden goal in Vancouver, and the chance to see him skate on a team with Crosby and McDavid in 2026 would be unreal. Let me know your thoughts on the NHL's participation in the Olympics in the comments. Thanks for tuning in. Please like and subscribe to support the channel.